So in the last lesson, we've already gotten pretty far with designing our app to make it look like the mockup. And now all we have to do is add our list view with our task items inside. Let's go into our Android Studio and let's go ahead and expand everything out so that we see our structure. So currently we have a scaffold with a floating action button and a column. That column contains a container, which is the top part of the app, and also another container that's taking up the bottom part of the app. So it's in this bottom container where we want to add our list view. Let's select it so that we can get to the right place in our widget tree. And here's a challenge coming up. You've already created list views in the last module. You know what they look like, you know what they require, and you've got the mockup for what we want to create. So try and use some of the Flutter documentation, or maybe have a look online to search around on Stack Overflow and see if you can recreate the appearance of the mockup by creating your very own list view using what you've learned so far. And once you've had a go at it, then come back over here and I'll show you the solution. So once you're ready, pause the video and give that a go. All right, so let's go through the solution. Firstly, you'll notice that the place where we want to create our list view is our container. And this particular container doesn't yet have a child. That's what we're going to add, the child property. Now, the child in this case is of course going to be a list view, which is going to help us set up and lay out our to-do list. Now, inside our list view, there are a whole bunch of properties that we could change, but the most important is its children. What's going to go inside that list? Well, in our case, we're actually going to use another handy widget, the list tile. And this is going to make it super easy for us to simply just create a reusable tile, which has properties such as the title, so what's going to go into the main part of the list, things like trailing, what's going to go in at the end, or leading, what's going to go in at the front, and it has properties such as on tap and everything you would normally expect from a cool widget. So let's go ahead and add a title, and it wants a text widget, and this text widget is going to say this is a task. So now let's hit save, and you see our list item show up right here. So what about the little checkbox? Well, that's going to go into the trailing part, so the end of this list tile. And easily enough, there's a checkbox widget, and all we have to do is to give it a value. So do you want it to be checked or unchecked? Well, let's start it out with unchecked. So there's our little checkbox. And if you want more than one list tile, then let's just go ahead and copy another one in. So we've got 2 tasks now in our list. But notice how once I've got my tiles in, it starts looking a little bit odd, right? Because if we take a look at our mockup, you can see that everything is all neatly aligned. And this is really one of the designer's best kept secrets. As long as everything aligns to a single point or a single line, then you can make anything look pretty good without a lot of effort. So let's do that for our list view as well. So because we're in a container, we of course have our padding property. So I'm simply going to add a padding that goes on the left and right. So that's going to be edge insets symmetric. So I only need to specify the horizontal. So that means the left and the right. And it's going to be maybe a 20 pixel to match up with the previous one. So now it looks a lot neater and a lot more designed, right? So now that we've pretty much created our list view, it's kind of getting a bit messy in here in our task screen, and we don't want everything to be all sitting in the same place. So let's go ahead and extract some of our widgets. Now, firstly, the one that we want to get rid of is probably going to be our list view. So let's click on our list view in our Flutter outline, and let's go ahead and extract our widget. So I'm going to call this the tasks list and go ahead and hit refactor. And then down here inside our task list, we've still got our list tiles, right? So I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to go ahead and extract it. So this is going to be a task tile. And now I've got it all refactored and we're ready to tidy things up. As always, I'm going to get rid of the new keyword, and I'm also going to get rid of all the constructors for the automatically created or extracted widgets because we don't really need them. We're not actually passing anything over to construct. And then we've got another new keyword here, and that will clean up our code a little bit. So now that we've extracted our task tile into a separate widget, we don't have to write out all the code for the widgets anymore. We can just simply create another task tile as and when we need it. So let's create another task tile here, and maybe let's add a third one down here. So now we have 3 tasks, all with their checkboxes and their titles. Now we're at a checkpoint, so let's hit save, and let's go ahead and create a new folder to keep hold of each of these little items, little extracted widgets. And I'm going to call this folder the widgets folder because these are kind of our custom widgets that we've created, right? And inside the widgets folder, let's create some Dart files. One of these is going to be the tasks_list, and another one is going to be the task_tile. So in both of these, we're going to need to import our material package. So we might as well go ahead and do that now. And then I'm simply going to copy over the relevant stateless widgets. So tasks list is going to go into here, and the task tile is going to go over here. So now we've got a couple of errors in our Dart analysis. The method task list isn't defined for this class, so it doesn't know about it because we haven't imported it. So naughty us. So let's go ahead and add our widgets/tasks list.dart, and now it knows exactly what we're talking about. But over here, we've still got 3 errors because it doesn't know what task tiles are. So let's go ahead and import our widgets folder and our task tile.dart. So now we've pretty much gotten rid of all of our errors, so the ones in red, and all we have now are simply just some warnings, so the ones in yellow. And inside our app, we've pretty much got our whole interface created where we've got the top area, our column of title and icon and a little bit of subtitle. And then we've got our little list here, which is scrollable. We've got checkboxes and the list items, and we've got our action button. Now, don't worry if you're trying this out and it doesn't work. The checkbox won't work yet because we haven't yet added any code that tells it how to behave, which we're going to do very shortly. But for now, if we take a look over here in our Dart analysis, we've got some things that we need to sort out. Firstly, the parameter onPress is required. So whenever a widget has required properties or parameters that we haven't given it, it will highlight it in this light yellow. And when you hover over it, it'll tell you what's missing. So in this case, our floating action button has all of this nice layout, but it actually doesn't yet know what it should do when it's pressed. So let's add our onPressed callback. And inside here, what should happen? Well, when we click on this plus button here, we actually want it to slide up something that allows us to input a new task. And if we look back at our mockup and we go onto the second page, you can see this is what we're kind of trying to do, right? We're going to get a new container that slides up, and it's also got the nice round edges. And here we'll be able to type in a new task and then add it to our to-do list. So that's what we're going to be tackling in the next lesson. So for all of that and more, I'll see you there.